Hey guys, welcome back to Life with the Cujos Homestead Edition. Today we're going to make something really cool. I've been waiting to make this for a long time because it is a basil face cream and it's the dead of winter right now. If I would have known about this in the summer when I had like 12 humongous bushes of basil, I would have made it then, but I just found out about it recently. So apparently basil is it's actually proven to be very good at wrinkle reduction. So I want to make some of this for my Italian mother-in-law who loves all things Italian. And I'm like, this is just right up her alley, right? Some basil face cream. So it actually seems pretty simple. We're going to learn together and hopefully we end up with some amazing face cream. So first of all, I have like a third of a cup of basil leaves and stems. And I had lots of stems. So I was like, well, if I can use the stems, why not, Because I'm not really going to use the stems to cook with. And then I have a half cup of witch hazel. So I'm just going to pour that in there. It says to use a food processor, but my food processor is big and this isn't enough product for it to really do a good job. So I'm just going to use my immersion blender. So we'll see. So if you need to plug your ears for a second, do it. It smells very witch hazily. Okay. So we need to strain this into a glass. I'll be right back once I get my strainer. All right. So what we're going to do is pour this in here. Come on. Probably put this used up basil in my compost bin. I don't know what else you'd do with it. We like to not waste around here. So I'm going to push all of this liquid out. And then I actually am going to rinse out this jar really quick because I need to measure how much is in here, but I needed to get all of the pieces out before I measured it. Okay. So, but this is the jar that I want to use. So I have to put it on the stove in a saucepan with some water. So I'm going to get my, okay. Let's see. So I need to put this on here. I'm going to pour it in and see. I should get about 50 grams. Let's see how much we got. Whoa, I have way more than 50. Okay. Well, it said add water until you reach 75. So I don't need this much. 75 grams. Maybe I made enough to make 2 batches. That would be sweet. But I'm going to start with 1 batch. Okay, so I have 75 grams. Then in another jar, I have, hold on. In another jar, I have 10 grams of mango butter, just a small amount. And then I have 8 grams of emulsifying wax. Okay, these little pellets. So I'm going to add that together. Okay, and then it said 7 grams. They suggested hemp seed oil. I would use, personally, rosehip seed oil because it's so good for your skin, so good for your face. and also anti-aging. So I'm like, well, why not? Of course I would use rose-hip-seed oil. So you could use your favorite oil. Don't want to waste any of that stuff though. That is good stuff. Okay, so then the next step is we're going to take both of these jars and we are going to put them in a saucepan with some water, and we're going to set it on like a medium low for about 10 minutes so we can bring everything up to the same temperature at the same time. So I brought both of my jars over here to the pan, turned it on medium low, and we're going to let it sit here for about 10 minutes. And then after this, it literally just takes a couple more minutes and we'll have some face cream. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes and I got out my, little jar picker upper thing because I thought that the jars are going to be super hot, but they're actually really not because it was just on medium low. So these 2 jars melted. I'm going to set them aside and pour them together. Okay, so it says to pour the basil into the oils and then stir vigorously for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to let it cool off for about 5 minutes. And every once in a while, we're going to come back here and we're going to stir it like that, probably with my fork a little bit until it cools off. Now it's time to add the preservative. It's been sitting here for about 5 minutes and I just kind of swirled it every once in a while. Now the preservative, I weighed this and I had about 97 grams and I wanted to use about 3% in the preservative, which, comes in this little thing. Ended up being like 3 grams. It's not very much. So I'm just gonna add my preservative. It's cooled down like all the way. It's just like room temperature. So now I'm gonna let it sit and it will thicken up after a few more minutes, hopefully. And then we'll put it into our cute little jars and package it up. All right, she's ready. It's nice and thick. I got these super cute little honey jars from my friend Laura. My husband was hanging out with her and her husband and comes home and is like, hey, Laura, got these jars in case you wanted them. I'm like, honey, I will always want jars. Have you ever heard me say the phrase, I have enough jars? You've never heard it. And you won't ever hear that. So I'm using this tiny little rubber baby spoon to try to get it in here all nice and pretty without making a huge mess. I feel like this made a nice amount. We'll see how long it lasts. So you put that preservative in there because we can actually just keep this on the counter now. We don't have to keep it in the fridge and use it within 3 to 5 days, because who uses face cream in 3 to 5 days? Not me. So here we have our pretty little basil face cream. Hopefully my mother-in-law will love it. And if not, I'll move on to something else, because it doesn't hurt to try. I hope that you had fun making this with me. If you made it and you love it, let me know. If you made it and you hate it, let me know. If you made it and you would do something differently, let me know.